Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try, things just don't change? You fight, persist, give it your all, but the world seems to stay the same, as if it's ignoring your efforts. But what if, instead of rowing against the current, you learned to navigate within yourself? Imagine living in a world where your dreams are no longer just possibilities, but reachable realities. It might sound impossible, but it's not. It's absolutely possible to turn challenges into stepping stones toward the life you've always wanted. But for that to happen, you need to change the way you see the world. The key to that transformation lies in an ancient philosophy, one that survived the ages because it still makes sense today: Stoicism. In this video, I'll share with you practical and profound lessons from Stoicism. They'll speak to your inner self and reignite hopes you may have forgotten you had. You'll learn to turn obstacles into fuel for growth and build a stronger, wiser, and calmer version of yourself. Let's dive in. Lesson 1. The Art of Ataraxia. The ancient Stoics often spoke of a concept called ataraxia. But what exactly does that mean? Ataraxia is a state of deep inner peace, a kind of mental calmness where we feel free from emotional disturbance. For the Stoics, true happiness wasn't found in material things or others' opinions, but in cultivating a tranquil mind. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, used a powerful metaphor: the inner citadel. He said that within each of us lies a kind of mental fortress, a protected place, strong and resistant to the pressures of the outside world. That's where our strength, resilience, and self-control live. Picture your mind like a well-guarded castle. Inside, nothing gets in without your permission. The world's attacks don't bring your walls down, because you're the one in charge. That inner citadel is where ataraxia lives. But let's be clear, ataraxia isn't apathy or indifference. It's the wisdom to recognize that not everything is under our control, and reacting calmly to that is an act of strength, not weakness. Epictetus, another great Stoic, said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of them." That phrase says it all. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens. Now, how can you apply this in real life? Picture this: you're out with friends, and the conversation turns to politics. Suddenly, someone rudely interrupts you, dismisses your opinion, and disrespects you. Your first reaction might be to snap back, get irritated. But take a breath. Remember ataraxia. You can't control what others do, but you have full control over how you respond. Instead of matching their anger, pause. Breathe. Speak with firmness and clarity. Set your boundaries, without disrespecting anyone. This attitude not only protects your peace but shows maturity, presence, and emotional intelligence. That's ataraxia. A mind that remains steady, even when the world tries to shake it. It's an invisible shield that helps you face any situation with clarity, balance, and purpose. Lesson 2. Practice detachment. Imagine sitting by a river, just watching the water flow. You're not trying to change the direction or control the current. You're simply observing, in peace. That image perfectly captures what detachment means in Stoic philosophy. Many people confuse detachment with indifference, as if it means not caring about anything. But that's not it. Detachment is freeing yourself from the need to control everything. It's letting go of suffering over what's beyond your reach. Think of how many times you felt anxious, frustrated, or even angry because things didn't go the way you planned. Maybe you tried to force a situation, insisted on something that didn't depend only on you, and it only drained you. Now imagine if, in those same situations, you had let go. allowed things to flow, accepted. The relief would be immediate, right? The Stoics believed inner peace begins when we focus only on what's within our control and release the rest. As Seneca once said, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future. This teaching has also been echoed by modern thinkers like Eckhart Tolle, author of The Power of Now. He talks about freeing ourselves from the ego and mental chains. According to him, when we focus on the present and stop clinging to outcomes, we find clarity and lightness that transform our lives. But how do we practice detachment in daily life? Let's look at a real example. You're dealing with a tense situation at work, a stalled project, a tough meeting, or conflict with a colleague. Instead of ruminating on what's out of your hands, ask yourself, what here actually depends on me? Focus on that. Take a deep breath, pause your mind, and acknowledge your feelings without judgment. That simple presence is already a huge step toward detachment. And you don't have to wait for big events to start. You can begin with small moments. A powerful practice is conscious breathing. When something throws you off, a delay, a criticism, an unexpected demand, close your eyes, breathe deeply a few times, and release the tension. Accept the moment as it is. It's not about resignation, it's about saving energy for what truly matters. Detachment is just that. Shedding the unnecessary weight and focusing only on the essential. Creating space in your mind and heart to live with more clarity, lightness, and balance. As Epictetus said, it's not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. Embrace that idea. You don't need to control everything. You just need to take care of what's in your hands. The rest, let the river carry it. Lesson 3. Finding beauty in simplicity. In the rush of daily life, constant notifications, endless tasks, and juggling responsibilities, it's easy to forget how powerful simplicity can be. The Stoics reflected deeply on this. For them, the beauty of life wasn't in excess or grand achievements, but in simple things. In what's truly essential. Picture a peaceful scene. You're sitting in an open field, surrounded by nature, feeling the warmth of the sun on your face and a gentle breeze passing by. No phone ringing, no rush, no pressure. Just you and the present moment. That kind of moment may seem small, but it holds immense power to bring us peace. It's in moments like that we remember what really matters. Epictetus once said, "Freedom begins when we realize what we truly need, not what we think we want." That sentence invites us to look inward and ask, what is essential to me? Do I really need everything I've been accumulating? Both in my physical space and in my mind. Simplicity starts there. You can begin by organizing your surroundings. Take a look at what you keep at home or at work. Each item should pass a filter. Does this add value to my life? Does it truly bring me joy? The same goes for your digital life. How many apps do you have on your phone that you never use? How many notifications keep distracting you all day? Reducing that noise brings clarity, focus, and, most importantly, peace. At first, it might be a challenge. Our brain gets used to constant stimulation. But as you simplify, you'll notice there's more time, more attention, more life. You begin to savor moments that once passed unnoticed. Reading a book without rushing. Drinking a cup of coffee mindfully. Listening to the rain and simply being there. The goal isn't to get rid of everything. It's to understand what's essential and let go of the rest. Less noise, more meaning. And this applies to everything. Our goals, our conversations, our thoughts. Simplicity is a conscious choice, a decision to focus on what nurtures and builds us. So pause and reflect. Do you really need everything around you to be happy? If your answer is no, drop a comment saying, I have enough. Because as Seneca said, he who needs less is richer than he who has more. Lesson 4. Live in the present. Imagine you're walking through a quiet forest. The trees rise around you like silent guardians. The ground is covered with dry leaves crackling under your feet. You take a deep breath and feel the fresh air fill your lungs. For a moment, all that exists is now. That's the power of living in the present. The Stoics believed that happiness is directly tied to our ability to be here, in the current moment. As Epictetus said, there is only one path to happiness. Stop worrying about things beyond your control. And what's beyond our control? The past, which is gone, and the future, which hasn't arrived. But our minds love to hold on to both. How often do you catch yourself reliving old situations, stuck in regrets, or stressing over problems that haven't even happened yet? The human mind was designed to protect us, but sometimes it goes too far. It creates worst-case scenarios, anticipates pain, and forgets to live in the now. That's where mindfulness comes in. Being present is a practice. It takes effort, patience, and intention. Want a simple example? Next time you wash your hands, instead of thinking about a million things, just feel the warm water on your skin. Notice the scent of the soap, the sound of the water flowing. That's presence. It's taking your mind off autopilot. You can apply the same practice everywhere. While walking, feel the contact of your feet on the ground. While talking, truly listen, without thinking about your reply. While eating, savor each bite instead of rushing through. Mindfulness brings us back to real life. It helps us break the cycle of obsessive thoughts and find peace in what's happening right now. A widely used technique is breath-focused meditation. Sit in a quiet place, close your eyes, and observe your breath. When your mind wanders, and it will, gently bring it back without judgment. It's a training. And over time, you'll notice your mind becoming calmer, lighter, more present. Seneca said, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling." Living in the present is about acceptance. Accepting that the past can't be changed and the future is still being written, moment by moment. Only here, in the now, does life truly happen. And that's where real freedom lives. Are you ready to live this moment with more presence? Lesson 5. Turn fear into courage. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you felt cornered, like every path led straight into the unknown? We've all been there, face to face with our greatest fears, not knowing what to do next. But it's in those exact moments that we have a powerful choice. Step back, or take a leap of faith. Yes, the leap is scary. But that's where transformation lives. When we confront our fears head-on, we discover a strength we didn't even know we had. We grow, we evolve, and we open doors that once seemed locked. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said, "Only by facing our fears do we discover our true reserves of strength." Fear, in fact, can be a signal. A sign that we're standing at the edge of something new, something challenging, something transformational. And here's the thing, often, the thing we fear most is exactly what we need to face. Think about it. Are you afraid of failing at a new project? Afraid of being rejected for who you truly are? Afraid of losing something or someone important? These fears are part of life. But they don't have to control you. In fact, have you ever considered that maybe your fear is bigger in your mind than in reality? Sometimes, what scares us the most isn't what might happen. but what we imagine could happen. And when you face that fear directly, you realize the disaster you feared wasn't that big after all. The Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum. They would imagine the worst-case scenarios, not to suffer in advance, but to prepare emotionally. When you're ready for even the worst, fear loses its grip. And then, whatever comes your way, you face it with more courage. Want a real-life example? Think of J.K. Rowling. Before creating the world of Harry Potter, she faced poverty, publisher rejections, and a deep fear of failure. But she kept going. She used fear as fuel, and turned her pain into one of the most inspiring stories in modern literature. So now I ask you, will you keep letting your fears hold you back? Or will you turn them into the fuel that moves you forward? If your answer is the second, drop a comment saying, I choose courage. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is acting in spite of it. And every time you do that, you don't just defeat fear. You become someone greater than it. Lesson 6. Navigating desire and moderation. You know that moment when you're torn between doing what you really want right now and what you know is better for you in the long run. That's where the battle between desire and moderation begins. And let's be honest, it's a common one. The Stoics knew this well. They didn't say we should erase our desires, but that we should learn not to be ruled by them. Seneca said that nature has already given us everything our body needs, and made it easy to access. The problem starts when desire begins to control us. When we keep chasing instant pleasures, without thinking of the consequences. That's where moderation comes in. Moderation isn't about deprivation. It's about freedom. Because when you control your impulses, you're in charge, not the other way around. Let's look at an example. You're tired, stressed, and suddenly you crave junk food, or feel like spending on something unnecessary, or escaping in any way. Before acting on impulse, pause and ask yourself, do I really need this right now? Will this truly make me feel better, or just numb me for a few minutes? Does this choice bring me closer or further from the life I want to build? These simple questions help clear your mind. They reconnect you to your values, to what truly matters. Epictetus said that true wealth is not in having much, but in needing little. And the more you practice moderation, the more you realize how little you actually need to feel content. You start to appreciate what you already have, to savor the little things, to live more consciously, with less excess. Then desire stops being a tyrant, and becomes an ally, an impulse you know how to direct with wisdom. In practice, this means developing the habit of pausing, of thinking before acting, of choosing with intention, not out of impulse. Next time desire shows up strong, remember this. You don't have to put out the fire, you just need to learn how to control it. Because true power isn't in satisfying every desire. It's in knowing when it's worth it, and when it's wiser to say, not today. Lesson 7. Develop self-control. Self-control isn't about repressing feelings. It's not about pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about consciously directing your emotions and actions, even when everything inside you wants to explode. The Stoics deeply valued this ability. For them, true power belongs to those who master themselves. Because the external world, we can't control. But what we do with what we feel, that is in our hands. Self-control is choosing to respond instead of react. It's resisting the urge to say something in the heat of the moment. It's sticking to a commitment even when laziness hits. It's saying no to a momentary pleasure because you know you're building something greater. But how do you develop this in real life? The first step is self-awareness. Pause and reflect. When do you usually lose control? What kind of situations throw you off balance? What behaviors do you keep repeating and later regret? When you identify your triggers, it gets easier to prepare for them. The Stoics had a practice called pre-visualization of difficulties. They would mentally rehearse challenging situations before they happened, a kind of mental training to know how to act when the real moment came. Let's imagine you're at work, and suddenly your boss asks you to handle something urgent and unexpected. Panic sets in, your mind races, your heart speeds up, and your instinct is to freeze or run. But now imagine you had already visualized this scene during your reflections. You had rehearsed how to take a deep breath, organize your thoughts, and focus on what needed to be done. That would make a huge difference, right? You'd act with more clarity, calmness, and much more confidence. That's what self-control is. Training your mind to be ready. Choosing to be the protagonist of your reactions, not a puppet of your impulses. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Each time you choose self-control, you strengthen that power. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. So the next time anger tries to take over, or immediate pleasure tries to distract you, breathe. Remember who you want to become, and choose to act with intention, because those who master themselves, master the world. Lesson 8. The power of empathy. The Stoics didn't just talk about inner strength, self-control, or wisdom. They also deeply valued empathy. Seneca once said, "No man can live a happy life if he thinks only of himself." For him, true happiness isn't built alone. It's born from connection, from caring for others, from seeing people not as obstacles, but as part of our journey. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to feel with them, even if you haven't experienced the same pain. And that, my friend, is a powerful skill, both for building meaningful relationships and becoming a wiser person. Think of a time when you gave up your time to help someone, or truly listened to someone without judging, or offered words of comfort to someone in pain. What did you feel afterward? Probably more than pride, a deep sense of purpose, because helping others, genuinely, also heals something within us. And here's the best part, it doesn't have to be anything big. Empathy shows up in small gestures. A sincere smile for someone who crosses your path every day. A "How are you?" that truly wants an answer. A few minutes to listen to someone who needs to vent. These small actions change the atmosphere around us, and they change us too. The Stoics believed we're part of a greater community, that our mission isn't to live in isolation, but to contribute to the common good. That's why self-knowledge and empathy go hand in hand. The more you understand yourself, the more you understand others. And the more you understand others, the more compassionate you become with yourself. Empathy is humanity in action. It's remembering that everyone is fighting a battle you can't see. It's having the humility not to judge, and the greatness to support. So today, I invite you to practice this. Do something for someone without expecting anything in return. Brighten someone's day, even if it's just with a sincere, "Good morning." Because in the end, the good you spread always comes back, in ways you can't imagine. And living with empathy is one of the most stoic and most beautiful ways to live with purpose. Lesson 9. Amor fati. Love your fate. Amor fati. This might be one of the most powerful, and most challenging ideas in Stoicism. To love your fate isn't just about accepting what happens. It's about embracing every event, good or bad, as an essential part of your journey. It's saying yes, not only to what you wanted, but also to what arrived without warning. Sounds hard, right? But think about it. How many times has something that seemed like a disaster turned out to be a blessing in disguise? The Stoics believed that everything that happens can teach us something. Even pain, even loss, even failure. Seneca used to say that life is like a play. What matters isn't how long it lasts, but how well it's performed. In other words, the value of our life lies in how we live it, not in what happens to us. Viktor Frankl, psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, reinforced this idea. He said that human beings don't seek pleasure above all, we seek meaning. And even in the worst situations, we can find purpose. Frankl lost everything: family, freedom, dignity, but he never lost his sense of meaning. And that's what kept him alive. That's the heart of Amor Fati. It's not about being passive. It's about turning suffering into growth. It's about looking at what happened and asking, what lesson can I take from this? Want a practical exercise? Next time something doesn't go as planned, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Change the question, what is this here to teach me? It might sound simple, but this shift in perspective changes everything. When you start to see challenges as part of your evolution, you stop feeling like a victim of fate. You become its partner, and even the hard moments gain meaning. Amor Fati is trusting that the universe, even when it feels harsh, is shaping you. It's sharpening your strength, your resilience, your clarity. It's looking at your scars and saying, thank you. I grew because of you. So today, I invite you to practice this. Reframe the hard moments. Find meaning in your pain. And be grateful even for what didn't go as planned. Because, in the end, what defines your life isn't the events that happened to you. It's how you chose to face them. Love your fate. Because it's through it that you become who you truly are. Lesson 10. Practicing gratitude. Imagine waking up every day and, before anything else, saying thank you. Not for something extraordinary, but just for being alive. For breathing. For having a roof over your head. A warm cup of coffee. A body that carries you. Sounds simple, right? But this practice can completely transform how you see life. The Stoics taught that happiness doesn't come from what we have, but from how we appreciate what we have. Epictetus said, "It's not what you have, but how you use what you have, that makes the difference." Gratitude doesn't require grand achievements. It's born in the ordinary, in the small things we often overlook. When you start to be grateful for the basics, you realize that what once seemed little is actually more than enough. Want to start? Tomorrow morning, be thankful for your warm sheets, for the sound of birds, for the light coming through the window, for the simple fact that you're alive and have another chance to try. Over time, this practice shifts your perspective. You stop focusing so much on what's missing and begin to value what's already there. And the best part is, gratitude is contagious. When people see you being thankful, even without big reasons, they start to find beauty in the little things too. Gratitude creates a positive cycle. You appreciate more, smile more, connect better, and attract more lightness into your day. Here's a practical tip. Start a gratitude journal. Every morning, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They can be simple: the meal you ate, a good conversation, a quiet moment. Or, throughout the day, whenever something good happens, no matter how small, pause, breathe, and say, "Thank you." Gratitude also walks hand in hand with acceptance. The Stoics said, to accept is not to resign, it's to recognize and appreciate what already exists, without constantly wishing for things to be different. And when you cultivate that acceptance, the present moment gains a special glow. You live with more presence, less pressure, more peace. Seneca said, "It's not happiness that makes us grateful, it's gratitude that makes us happy." So how about starting now? Close your eyes for a moment and give thanks for something simple. And if this video resonated with you, leave a comment. Gratitude. That way I'll know you made it to the end, and that you're walking this Stoic path with me. Because every day is a new chance. And being thankful for it is already a beautiful way to begin.